of Ireland's richest entrepreneurs. He's fully funding me now.
Multi-factor complex problems, not the ordinary stories.
So, good old Ivor has posted another wonderful video for us to help us understand the mortality patterns or be forever lost. What on earth is going on in England? Well, I think we all know about that. A full overview here and his important high-level view of viral epidemic, and I still don't know if he actually knows what that means, epidemic, mortality and key patterns. So let's have a look what he's talking about.
Very important high-level view of mortality across all of Europe from Euromomo, the mortality database. So we're going to look at something very interesting first. And that's there's only one or two countries that have deaths in the younger age group above expectation during the original epidemic and this winter resurgence. And the second part, we're going to go into overall mortality 65 plus. Okay, 65 years plus in mortality, where the real epidemics are.
Okay, thanks Ivor for telling us where the real epidemics are. Okay, so next, before we actually go into anything, I'd like you to watch a quick video from the Financial Times on Euromomo, which might bring some of Ivor's work into better perspective.
One piece of information that some of those who don't think this winter is any different to normal have been using is data from the European Mortality Monitoring website, Euromomo. Now what they'll do is they'll point to a chart that looks a bit like the one you see in front of you here, which is tracking whether or not deaths occurring in different countries in Europe are roughly normal for the time of year or above what we'd normally expect. They'll focus on this period right at the end of the chart where it looks like the line is going downwards, suggesting that deaths are falling back towards roughly normal levels for this time of year. The problem is the way this data is processed means that the lines always trend downwards at the end because there is essentially a delay between when deaths occur and when they're registered. So if we look at the data for England, for example, if we'd visited this webpage about a week ago, the data point for week 52, the last week of 2020, gave a value of 0.15. That means essentially deaths occurring in the last week of 2020 were no different to a normal year. However, we come back to this page today, a week later, and that value for England for the same week is now 5.98, almost 6. In other words, it's considerably higher than normal, and in the range that Euromomo says means significant excess deaths. That's the same week, it's just that a week later, more of that data has been processed and the line has gone back up. Once again, the final point of the line looks like it's dipping down, but we know from this experience, from past experience, that that is a data processing issue, and once all that data has fed through, that point, like the one before it, will rise up.
So what is Ivor Cummins doing then, and why is he presenting the data in this way? There's two points he's made. One is that there's low mortality in the younger age group, and another is that there is low overall mortality. And he spoke about Europe, so rather than look at, as he's doing, individual countries and quickly whizzing by, I'm going to look at Europe overall, because if you're looking at overall Europe mortality, surely you would look at Europe overall. So first of all, now remember, the normal range is this area in grey. Anything outside of this grey area is considered above normal. As you see just here is above normal. This grey line is in fact the baseline average. So the red line here is a substantial increase. If things are here, we're in bad times. And there's a corrected for delay in registration, this yellow area at the end, which you've just seen described. So it could even be in the 0 to 14 years bracket that we're seeing a rise, although at the moment it does look like, at least until we see this data, it is within normal. But then when we start to look at other age groups, it's very, very different from the picture Ivor's been showing. 15 to 44 years, we see for quite some time through the year, it's outside of the normal range. In April, going substantially above the normal range. And again here, bearing in mind that this is delayed and we expect to see this increase and not tail off, it looks like we could be looking at quite significant excess mortality in the 15 to 44 year of age group. Likewise, 45 to 64 years. Huge excess mortality in the spring. And then again, vast excesses here throughout Europe, running up into 21. And again, considering there's a delay here, this is just going to go up. And we see this through 65 to 74 years, 75 to 84, and of course, 85 years plus, because strangely, older people die more than younger people. But that doesn't take away from the huge excess mortality we're seeing across the board through Europe. And how Ivor has the audacity to try and hide this and manipulate these graphs is utterly beyond me.